Hello, my podcast people, and thank you for joining me for yet another episode of my favorite online business podcast. If you are listening, tuning in, watching on the day that it drops, it is Monday, May 11th. Welcome to May 11th. Today, we are making the case for doing more. The life and business updates are going to be just kind of tied into what we're talking about today, so we're going to jump right on in. So, first off, last Sunday, May 3rd, was Rupert's Gotcha Day. Totally forgot. Or I just forgot to publicize it. If you don't know, Rupert's my cat and he's my best friend. And he just completely opened and exploded my heart when I got him way back in 2020. And I'm so glad that I got him. He's everything. I love the dog too. I love Moose. I got her way after. She was part of the package deal, but that guy is my whole heart. So the tie-in to today's episode is that I got him during a period of very low commitment, right? Which is I didn't have many commitments. It was literally the beginning of COVID. I couldn't do anything. And so that's the opposite of what we're talking about today, which is making it pour when it rains, AKA making the case for doing more when there's already a lot going on. So, right, Roops, he's a living creature, living being. And I got him 2 months into COVID when all we could do was stay home, right? I was still working because I was working online, but changing a lot of things, right? I had canceled my in-person events. I was wanting to end them that year, but I was doing my Movement Maestro course and I had a New York course booked. And this is right when everything started getting closing down. And so I had to cancel it, right? I had a booking, I had an Airbnb booked and I was going to go teach there and I canceled it. And then I was canceling everything. And, Rock Tape was reshuffling and reorganizing because all of their stuff was in person. And I actually retired from Rock Tape during that time. I was doing workouts at home for the first time. We closed the gym down and Forrest was great. And he just lent out equipment and, lent out just a single dumbbell to people. And so I didn't have a commute to the gym. I thought it was far, but I would spend a lot of time at the gym, a lot, and have long sessions. And my friends were there, Camille and Brenda were there. And so I didn't have that because I was at home. And so I was actually building out the gym. And I had a lot of time and energy to devote to this very new endeavor of being a parent to this little adorable cat. And, giving of myself in that way and caring for something else and keeping it alive and learning about it and loving him and caring for him. And so for me, it made the most sense to do it during that time, during that dry spell, right? In general, as I think about taking that on again, I'd want to do that during a dry spell, during a time when not a lot of other stuff is going on. May not be the case for you, definitely the case for me. Right. The counterpoint to this, and what we're going to talk about this episode, is basically Parkinson's law, right? Work expands to fill the time allotted, which is why, as Jill says, if you leave it to the last minute, it only takes a minute. So currently in life, for me, work is picking up and all of the, the messaging pivot, the messaging evolution has absolutely been the right thing. It's been fantastic. If you've signed up for a messaging offer service with me, thank you. And it's been so much fun. But the work itself is time intensive and it takes a lot of brain capacity, which means I have been working a lot more in a different way and sitting more. Right. By the way, quick plug. If you are wanting help with your messaging, namely, if you're ready to refresh your website so it actually matches who you have become and who you are right now, check out the messaging services, namely the website messaging audit. I would probably do an episode about this in general, just about what I think is going to happen economically, but I fully believe that an economic slowdown is coming. I mean, we're realistically already here and we're seeing it and feeling it. So to me, now is a good time to lean into relationship building and long sales cycle and just putting content out and establishing yourself in the space. So if you're looking to rebrand or looking to refresh your brand or solidify your brand, now is a good time to focus on that. And now is a good time to focus on the messaging around that. If you need help with that, I would love to help you with that. So we'll link that in the show notes. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Jojo. But like I was saying, I'm very busy delivering these messaging services. I'm staying up late. I'm not getting up early. I'm not a morning person, so I'm not getting up early. I wake up between 7 and 7:30 just every day. I'm supporting the clients that I had before. I'm doing my other work stuff, the podcast, this podcast, my other podcast, my newsletters. I am posting a bit more on social too. I've been inspired. It is volleyball season. Not that I'm playing, but I'm watching. It's spring, so there's like hella birthdays and people wanting to hang out. And it just felt like the perfect time, given all of that, to do more. And by more, I mean to start a new workout program. So hear me out on how this actually matters and like the significance of this. So I typically program for myself. I take a bodybuilding approach. I love programming for myself and I love doing my programming. But all of this work that I've been talking about, it means way more sitting, because when I tap into that part of my brain to work on copy and do copywriting and copy consulting, I can get into a flow state. I'll call it a flow state. And like basically I could just keep going. I just sit there and I just keep typing. Moving does help me. But if I'm typing, I got stuff to say. I don't need to be moving. Right? And if I am going to move, I just like get up and walk around, pace around the office. So it's more that, the issue here is more that I am able to zone out, zone in, whatever you want to call it, for way longer than I could when I had live calls, right? Because the live call just starts and stops. And so you have those in between times, you go to the bathroom, whatever, your brain, you're switching. Whereas when I'm doing copywriting and messaging work, I can just sit for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I don't love that. And so I was like, how do I get more movement in? Right? Craving more movement, craving a bit more conditioning, craving a bit more dynamic just nature to things. Like I play volleyball 3 times a week, but I'm just like, it doesn't feel like how it felt before when I had a lot more movement throughout the day. So I solved my problem, right? I actually spoke about my approach to solving problems like this, and I call it my CADE system, CADE, CADE system for organizing your shit. I dropped this and spoke about this first in episode 433. That's from December 19th, 2022. Thank you, Courtney. That episode, now that I think about it, is about to fall off. So fun fact, Apple only shows you the past 300 episodes. The rest it won't show. So they're all available on my website all the time. But since we are at we're at 716, that means that once we hit to 733 or 734, then episode 433 will have fallen off. It's wild. But either way, we'll link that in the show notes for you. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Jojo. But the CADE system for organizing your shit, it's an acronym, right? CADE is consolidate, automate, delegate, eliminate, right? Consolidate typically means batching. And so whenever I'm trying to get things organized or I need to get things organized or optimized, I go through that framework and I'm like, can I consolidate it? Can I automate it? Can I delegate it? Can I eliminate it? Which one of these is most appropriate for what's going on? So despite my busy schedule, I still work out, right? I prioritize it. I think Jill calls this episode about Jill, clearly. I think Jill calls these like anchor items and just things that you always do no matter what. And they help me, to be able to do the other things. You may change the time and the length you do them, but I always do them. So I know that I'm going to work out. Like that has not dropped off. So my thought was, I'll lean into the C, right? Lean into consolidate or batching, and let me put the conditioning and more movement in that time, right? But I don't like programming like that. Never have. It's not what I do. So I signed up for Tactic Functional Fitness. My girls, Meredith Root and Alex Parker. I signed up for their monthly programming, right? Ultimately, for me, it makes the most sense to batch it all together because that's going to, for me, form allows flow. So yes, for some people, it's, they can break things up. That for me causes task switching. And then yes, I love to go on a walk, but I don't want to say I don't have the time, but my brain doesn't want to do that because I'm like, I'm in it. I'm doing this thing. So let me get all of my movement and stuff in first, and then I can go and sit and do my work. So signed up for Tactic Functional Fitness Monthly Programming. I've brought Meredith and Alex on a bunch of times to the podcast. Just Meredith, a good, very close friend of mine. And I've actually worked with her in the past as a fitness and nutrition coach. So I was like, I know how her brain works. I respect the shit out of her and Alex as well. But the programming is done by Meredith. So signed up. They have 6 different tracks. It's like $25 a month. Like it's a no-brainer. They have 6 different tracks. They are getting into just starting as of today. They're starting a 5-3-1 cycle, 5-3-1 FSL. So first set last. Strength cycle, and I was just like, this is great. They have 6 different cycles, 6 different tracks within the programming. I'm following the daily one, and that one has Olympic lifting, strength work, conditioning work. So it's like basically CrossFit Metcons, and accessory work. So all the things that I wanted. And so my plans, front load the day. I will do it first thing, and then I'll work the rest of the day, right? It's a bit of the profit first approach, but for life. Time-wise, it shouldn't take me much longer than my long workouts that I would do, especially the ones that I would do in the evenings. I'd be like kind of dicking around and dilly-dallying. So now it's 90 minutes. I think this probably could end up being around 2 hours if I like really go slow. But like everything is timed in terms of like the rest periods and things like that. So I think, but even if it does end up being 2 hours, it's fine because I work out here. So it's not like, I have to go to the gym and then come back from the gym and like do all. So I'm like, I'm here. It's just literally go downstairs and do the thing. So it's like 2 hours, including like I have to set all this stuff up. But part was, it should be, and it will be kind of like Parkinson's law, right? Where I work out first and then work will expand to fit and fill the time that's left in the rest of the day, which again should be the same as before. It's just that I have front loaded it and I have used the C from the CADE system and consolidated things. So today was the first day. I loved it. I am so grateful for the space that we have here. We have the backyard, driveway, big area in front of the garage. I'm so grateful for all the equipment. I have everything, like everything that you could need for CrossFit. I have it. Barbells. I have the rack. We have a GHD. We have a rower. We have an assault bike. We have a hex bar. We have a soft plyo box. We have literally anything and everything. I have sandbags. We have kettlebells. Like I just really built out the gym so much during COVID. Now I have the, I don't want to call them accessory pieces, but like the more bodybuilding pieces as well. I just got the piece from Timo. I have the leg extension machine. I have the leg press. I just have a lot of options. And so I'm just super, super, super grateful. And I'm super grateful to be friends with Meredith and have met her so many years ago through Instagram. But today was day one. Definitely was on an exercise high after. I'm like, this is great. It feels good to be doing Metcon. And I understand it enough. I can scale things, modify as needed, and live to fight another day. And, personally, I am also more motivated to work during the day, but I do some of my best work at night, as opposed to, I don't really like lifting at night. I will do it. I will lift at 11 o'clock at night in jeans. I don't care, but I'd rather not. I'd rather work than lift. So it makes sense to do the lift in the morning, even though like with the daylight, I am like just more motivated to do work than other times, but it's fine because it's also spring, so now the day is longer. There's more hours of daylight, and so I can be working with that daylight. So it also, like, a lot of things came together, and I was like, right now makes sense to hop into this. But to tie in all of this into the title of the episode, making it pour when it rains, right? The saying is when it rains, it pours. When one thing happens, all the things tend to happen. And what I was trying to elucidate with my personal anecdote of joining the programming is that we as humans oftentimes seemingly have a tendency to do this ourselves, right? Where a few things are going on or changing, and so we just add to the list. And I don't think it's inherently a bad thing. If you go and blow up your life in a bad way, and it's detrimental to you, then that's not a good thing. But I don't think it's inherently a bad thing to be like, stuff on my desk. To be like, lots of stuff is happening. I'm just going to go do some more. I don't think that's inherently a bad thing. As per always, discernment is going to be key, as is self-awareness. So like I said in the beginning of the episode, getting Rupert and adding to my plate in that way at that time made sense because it was not raining, right? It was dry and my plate was half empty. Right now, right, with more work, a busier schedule, adding to my plate with like a new animal, probably not. A new pet, a new fur baby, no. But new workout programming for me makes sense. All right. And I think for many folks, adding more things, it forces more structure. So it's a net positive. For some folks, if we use a specific example, adding more to the workout, part of things may not make sense because it's too much. They don't care about it. That's a big thing. We don't care about it. Don't add that. Or it's like going to stress them out because if they can't do it, then, they're going to feel bad. Like I know that if something comes up and I have to switch it, that's one of the reasons I went with Tactic as well, because they have 30-minute versions of it. Like also, if, really push comes to shove and I can't do it, I'm not going to be like, I'm the worst. Like it's fine. But as it relates to this episode, I think that for these folks who maybe adding more to the workouts doesn't make sense. They could still agree that the concept of adding more in general, in certain instances, may make sense and may be a net positive. So this is yet another episode of me giving you permission that you don't need, but maybe you need to hear it to do things in a way that best fits for you. And in this case, maybe it is adding more to your plate to create more structure and create more parameters. And that does, for many people, give you a bit more structure. But as I'm going to borrow from a former client, Bonnie, form allows for flow. And so you have that structure and put in that allows for you to like get more stuff done. And suddenly you're like, oh, actually, I might get better using my time. So yes, folks, sometimes the answer is to do less. And other times it is to make it pour. All right. And by pour, I mean P-O-U-R. Gonna wrap it up there. Looking at the time. As always, endlessly, one more time, endlessly appreciative for every single one of you. Until next time, friends, Maestro out.